this is how to make a deck in Gwent, the Witcher card game. First of all, you are going to open your browser and go to your creator of choice. From there, you are going to select one of their most recent videos to ensure the deck is up to date and still valid. Once on the video, you'll skip to a part where you can see all of the cards, and pause it. Then you want to swap over to your Gwent browser and enter the deck builder. Select the correct faction and leader, and then proceed to claim the deck as your own. Hello ladies and gents, and welcome back to some more Gwent, the Witcher card game. Now, silly intros aside, today we're going to go through the stages of building a deck, and hopefully it's going to teach you to not, if you net deck, then to try not net decking, because it's just so helpful building your own, trying to understand the cards, what works well, finding the combos. Obviously, net decking helps in some regard, because sometimes you just might not spot things. You might not spot that A card goes into B card well, or C card does this to, do you know what I mean, the rest of your deck. So sometimes net decking is good, but at the same time you generally just learn to play someone else's deck and not to play the cards themselves. I find that building a deck yourself is so much more useful. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first thing you want to do is choose a faction and a leader. Now I've gone for Nilfgaard, purely because it's different. Everyone's playing Scoia'tael Mulligan right now, or Northern Realms armor decks. So I've gone for Nilfgaard with Morvaran Vorhis as my leader. Now he reveals 4 cards of your hand. He basically does exactly what this deck's going to set out to do. Now I've just filled this deck with things that do things with reveals. So these guys reveal, do their deploy ability. These guys reveal and do damage. This guy reveals an opponent's card. This guy locks cards, so he's just useful all around. Basically, you get the gist of it. Now, I don't know how well this deck's going to perform at all. I haven't played with it yet. I wanted to take you through the steps of me building this deck. So, basically, I'm going to go into a couple of games now with these cards. I know roughly what's in the deck. Just mousing over them for your sake. And then, after a couple of games, you should start to get the feel of, okay, this card's not very good, or this card probably shouldn't be in this deck at all, and maybe we could have this one. If you play against someone who's playing Reveal Nilfgaard, you might find someone who's, I don't know, chosen a card that you didn't really think about, and then you can start to modify and change your deck. I might find that I only want 2 copies of Spotters and 2 copies of Daler and Foot Soldiers because I want to include something else. And I think, ultimately, you have to sacrifice the time playing in either ranked or casual with a not-so-good deck if you really, really want to learn what works well and what doesn't. I mean, net decking helps and is pretty good because some people have taken the time to think about everything like that, but at the same time, it might just not work for you. So making your own decks is always going to be better. I'm going to go into a couple of games with this deck now and probably lose them all, but hopefully across them losses I can learn what cards I didn't really want, what cards I didn't need, and then maybe I can start making some changes. So we are back after the 2 previous amazing results, which is a 2-0 loss and a 2-1 loss. So overall, this deck has potential, but it just wasn't quite there. Now, I was trying to draw cards with Avalak here, and also Albrick, or Islebrick, as I'm going to call him from now on. And yeah, they just weren't drawing me good enough cards. I kept drawing the Standard Bearers to clear weather and boost your own guys, but they just weren't very useful to me in either matchup. And to be honest, I think even against weather, they won't be that good. And I also kept drawing just basically rubbish. I didn't want the 10 strength dudes either. I can't remember the name currently. But they just weren't that useful. I have enough reveal in this deck. I just didn't have enough stuff to be revealed. So, with that said, I wanted to thin the deck. So I want to play cards without playing cards to then draw the good cards. If that doesn't make sense, we'll just look at the cards I've put in. I've got Imperial Golems. Whenever you reveal a card in your opponent's hand, play this unit from your deck. Now I can do that turn 1 if I wanted to get all 3 out. There you go, easier said. Also, I've added Roach. Now this guy is another thin, like he'll just come out of your deck when you play a gold card. So for example, I could play something like Kahir, reveal 3 of their cards and maybe a Daler and Foot Soldier. And then I'm going to get these 3 out, I'm going to get Roach out, I'm going to get Kahir out, I'm going to get one of these, and then I'm going to draw another card, and it's just going to be a lot of a lot of deck thinning going on, hopefully early into round 1. And that means that then in round 2 and 3, I can use Avalak and Ulbrich into drawing good cards that I'll potentially need, like these Mangonels, Fire Scorpions, etc. So yeah, they're the changes I've made so far. I'm going to go ahead and go again and play another couple of games, and we'll get a feel for how this is doing overall. And here we are. So you see the last 2 results I got were a 2-1 loss, again, unlucky for me, and a 2-1 win. So that's, I don't know, I feel like the deck has definitely made progress since last time. The 2-1 loss felt very, very close, and I was against Northern Realms Armour deck, which I'm not entirely sure personally how to play against right now. So, I don't know, I'm very, very comfortable with where this deck is. The only maybe other card that I would change would be Decoy for something along the lines of maybe a Scorch, maybe even Van Hamer. Like, this guy's pretty good. He could be used for your weather counter because he clears skies. At worst, he's going to spawn Overdose, which is the damage 6 random enemies by 2, so that could be useful. Or even Biting Frost. So, overall, that's probably the only change I might make. I'm going to give this game, the deck, a few more games, but I feel like I've shown you in this episode how to maybe evolve your deck. Make sure you make a deck and you put in cards which you think are going to work, and then you'll play a couple of games, and then you'll go, no, not that one. That card is rubbish. It's not going to do anything. I don't want it. And you'll swap it out into a better card, etc., etc. And for me, now, I know playing this deck that I'm comfortable with if the meta changes to a certain archetype, that I know roughly what cards I would change into, say, like full weather removal, if weather became a really big problem. Whereas if you've just net decked it, it might not even say that in like anywhere near the guide, like if the meta changes, this is what you should do. And maybe some of the picks they've chosen are only for meta. So, I don't know. Overall, my experience, always make your own decks. I feel like it's just much better. You get to know your cards better. You get to know the deck better. Sure, you might be able to play someone else's deck really, really well, but then when it comes down to crunch time, you need to change some cards or make the deck a little bit different. You might not know exactly where to go with that because you've just read someone else's guide that's worked. So yeah, that's basically the lesson of the video today. Let me know down below, do you guys prefer to net deck, or do you prefer to struggle on making your own and using the time, investing the time and to try and make a very good deck for yourself? Personally, obviously, as you've told throughout the video, I'm definitely on the latter side there. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope to see you all around, and I'll see you later.